Welcome home, Bitcoin truth seekers. Hey, everybody. It is Friday, September 24th, 6:10 a.m. here in the Arizona desert. Anyway, while I'm chatting here live, I will be watching comments if anybody happens to be watching and sends me a chat. I will, that does the live chat. I will, I'll chart anything that you might ask. Okay, anyway, bitcoinreview.com. Got more for you there. And one thing I do have there that's kind of interesting, that might be of interest, is this is from Michael Saylor, a tweet today. Bitcoin on Lightning, on Twitter. Lightning Network definitely going to get a bit of a boost in traffic. And setting up a Lightning node is not, well, I'm not going to kid you. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But if you figure it out, maybe this is a good time to get in on it. It is, can you make money doing it? Pennies. But it is a sort of a way of mining, which doesn't require a crap ton of GPUs and such like that. And you can make a little money. If you are able to set it up, then you can let your computer just roll, or you can set it up on like a Raspberry Pi. There's pre-made kits for that. Anyway, I'll put some more links over at bitcoinreview.com throughout the day about that. But if you do go there and cruise down under projects and cool stuff, Lightning Node, these two links here should kind of get you where you want to go as far as setting up a Lightning node. I have one running on Linux, and I just did it on actually this workstation right here that I'm using. It doesn't really require any much utilization whatsoever. It's just running a Lightning node, daemon, and then also a Bitcoin wallet, full node. And that's about all the resources it takes, and the slightest bit of internet chatter. So with that said, Lightning Network, this is a big deal. Twitter. Now you can tip with Bitcoin. Will anybody do it? I don't know. But this is a big deal. And Jack Dorsey, even though he's kind of a globalist at heart, that's kind of a cool little picture of him. Almost makes you think he's human. Anyway, with that said, China's central bank says that all cryptocurrency-related activities are illegal. Vows harsh crackdown. Who gives a shit? Anyway, with that said, looking at the crypto squares this morning, we're starting to see a bit of a recovery. Bitcoin definitely took a hardcore dump. For people who are buy the dump people, I think they're getting crazy today buying that dump or buying that dip, because even though I'm not really a person who likes that methodology of buying the dip, I think maybe a little bit more effort into your trading methodology and such is a better idea. Still, this is a damn good buy the dip day. Even I got to say, kind of an anti-dip buyer. Anyway, 29 billion in volume last 24 hours, up 19% last 24 hours. That's not a whole lot of volume, but we are getting quite the spike today, and I think that's probably well wrecked long volume, and then also, of course, buy volume. People are buying this dip, and you can see it. We'll look at that. I'd like to see at least 70 billion for futures. And today it's 86 billion right now, last 24 hours, up 19%, not bad. So not great spot trading volume at all. Futures volume, okay. But both of those are on the rise quickly. Looking at Bitcoin trading volume last 24 hours, we're going to refresh this thing to get the latest data. 6.3 billion in volume last 24 hours. That's not bad at all. That's a sudden bump, to be honest with you. And it's 3.5 billion of that on Binance and 1.1 billion of that on Coinbase. Nobody else showed up for really to none of the other major exchanges really showed up for business today. Bitfinex, 579 million. That's okay. Anyway, nice. It looks like we're getting some real retail trading volume while we're having this bit of extreme volatility. Looking at a 1 hour chart here, if we look at the like last hour, if I can get this thing, this is kind of blowing it on me. Here we go. We will refresh this and come back to it and see if it will work for us. Looking at longs versus shorts on Binance for Bitcoin, 60% long, 39% shorts. That's a nice long sentiment, and that kind of makes sense looking at the charts. I'm going to roll in just a second. Looking at Ethereum, 67% long, 32% short. ETH, both those definitely have nice long sentiments. Now, will this work? Did it refresh correctly? Okay. The initial, when this dump first started, come on, give me an hourly. Sorry to keep you all. I'm going to hold you up. Come on. Refresh. There we go. When this dump first kind of started, you could see an initial like wrecking of 125 million in longs, and then 23 million the next hour, and then like 67 million the hour following that. And now they're starting to trail off. So I definitely think that the longs that we're going to get wrecked are wrecked, and now are beginning to have a bit of a recovery. With that said, okay, we already know longs versus short sentiment for both Bitcoin and Ethereum seem to be pretty positive on Binance, for all that sweet ass volume is. Looking at the 45-minute chart for Bitcoin, this Fibonacci sequence where we had our low back here on the 21st of July, the high on like September 6th. Look at this beautiful uptrend that we've been having. If we make a fib out of this, you can see we have bounced down to the 0.5 fib level, slightly below it, but not quite to the 618. Even a 618 bounce would have been fine. So anyway, we did recently have a 0.5 bounce, and we got above the 382 fib level, which is really nice, around 43,874. So we got above that. We were having nice support. We were challenging that 200 moving average. We even got above it for a bit, but then boom, dump this morning. But what I do like to see is, I don't mind a dump. I don't mind a morning dump, you know. But with that said, check it out. We really did we went to previous support and resistance and balance, and of course also we went to a previous fib level that's been kind of looking strong. That looks valid. This fib sequence kind of works for me. So it looks like we're bouncing, even though we had this nasty dump. Now there were some futures that closed last night. I forget which ones they are. Sorry, I don't really pay much attention to. I just don't do futures, so I don't think about it much. But some big futures, whatever, closed last night around 3 a.m. Eastern or something like that. And that's when it's kind of started. So that seems to have something to do with this dump. And then, of course, China. I don't think anybody cares, honest to God. I don't think anybody cares what they do. They've been banning cryptocurrency since Bitcoin was a cent, you know, so whatever. Now looking at a 5-minute chart, boom, look at this. This is pretty powerful. If I take this wick down here as a low and go to the recent high on the 5-minute chart, and that's a very, very short time frame, but still, check it out. We're having a 786 bounce. That's not bad at all. And if you look, one of the things I'm always watchful for, and when I'm kind of against buying a dip once in a while, it's only because, you know, like right here, if I was to zoom in where you'd see it, but there was hesitancy here, you know, hesitancy here, hesitancy here. Every fib level, it kind of had a bit of it kind of held on for a second, but then really I think that the confirmed uptrend really is right here on the 786. So why buy this when you can just hold out to see this confirmed uptrend? I just personally think it lacks finesse to always just buy the dip while it's dipping. The confirmed uptrend will make you more money. With that said, let's look at this. Squeeze indicator here on the 5-minute chart is starting to show some green. Directional index is slightly trending towards the positive. KRI is okay. Lazy bear indicator looks like it's getting ready to turn around. So anyway, very, very short time frame. Hard to see a whole lot here, but still, it does look like we are bouncing at a reasonable spot. I mean, dips happen, pumps happen. And if you dump, but you dump to some reasonable, predictable level, well, it looks like we did, and I'm fine with that. You know, I can't really complain. Let's look at a 15-minute chart here. 15-minute chart's a bit more solid looking. You can really see this nice bounce that we're getting so far. Still, you know, the day is young. We'll see how it goes. I'd like to look at let's look at a 4-hour chart here. Looking at a 4-hour chart. You can see the abruptness of this dump. Anyway, there we go. So there it is. Let's look at a daily chart here. Something I'm very curious about here on this daily chart is, we'll get rid of that fib, but okay, daily chart. One thing to note on this daily chart that's very powerful, I think, is, okay, fine, definitely a dump this morning. So we've been ranging between the 314 moving average here and the 200 moving average on the daily. You know, we want to get above that 200 moving average on the daily. That's definitely bullish. We want to do that. So we were getting ready to challenge the 200 moving average, and we dumped. But check it out, though. So far in the daily, we slightly wicked below the 314 moving average, and the body of the candle is kind of resting on it right now. So, I mean, if you think about it, a 314 moving average bounce on the daily chart, especially when you're ranging between the 200 and the 314 moving average, I mean, it's logical. So yeah, there's definitely sorry, I forget which futures it was. Some futures closed, and I guess that supposedly could have that it was known that this could happen from that. But I only heard about it like last night. I didn't really, or I would have said something to you yesterday. And of course, China FUD, I don't know, whatever. You ever wonder if like the whales and the manipulators, they just wait for events and then hide behind those because it kind of gets people not looking at them, You know, they look at the event. Oh, futures close. Oh, China, whatever, and like they know that they have the internet too. They know what's going on, like when things are going to happen, and they just coordinate, wait, and boom, and dump it. So anyway, why do we dump? Who knows? But we did dump, and whether it's on the news that we have heard of or not, we dump to predictable levels. So great, now we're bouncing. Cool, buy the dip. Buy the dip. A dip this sweet, even I buy. All right. Okay, Bitcoin versus USDT here on the daily. The MACD is absolutely dismal and still very, very negative. That definitely puts pressure on things. We had this golden cross a while ago. The 50 moving average is above the 200 moving average. That's sweet. Anyway, let's watch today if we can make some momentum off this 314 moving average, moving towards the 200 moving average. That would be really, really nice, especially if we can get some velocity from this people buying this dip and get the tangent of this MACD towards the positive again. So anyway, that's what I can tell you. That's what I see right now. Let's look at some other stuff. All right, Ethereum versus USDT here on the 45-minute chart. Pretty much doing what Bitcoin is doing, dumping to predictable levels. Ethereum, it might be getting ready for that swing trade. But what interests me even more than that, to be honest with you, is Ethereum will probably move up quicker than Bitcoin. Just my guess, okay, because it tends to be a little bit more volatile. And check this out. This is Ethereum versus BTC. And if you look, the directional index is beginning to lessen its dump. Squeeze indicator is beginning to show a cool off. Stochastic RSI shows, man, you've been selling this thing pretty darn hard. And look at this beautiful lazy bear, wave can oscillate by lazy bear. It's showing a positive cross way in this overdumped territory right here. So looking at that, let's look at a 15-minute chart here. It looks like we're starting to see, this, I think we're at that sideways point. I mean, you never really do know. On a 15-minute chart, we're beginning to see some green directional index. So I'm kind of curious about Ethereum versus BTC. I might do a small position here. It's just because, if Ethereum outpaces, Bitcoin in the recovery, it's a way to make some sweet, nice sats. I certainly do like that. You can also look right here, and you can see that we are playing with, previous recent support and resistance in the chart right there. We're getting above that. So, and there we are. Anyway, that's what I can tell you about that. I do think this is, it's risky. And as always, entertainment purposes only, never financial advice, but I might do a small position in ETH because worst case, I'm sitting on some ETH for a while. I don't know. With that said, Sol versus BTC. Check it out. So I'll definitely dump with BTC, but it ain't taking that shit lying down. It's not. Sol versus BTC. It's already challenging that 200 moving average. Indicators definitely are kind of crappy, but the squeeze indicator is beginning to show some positive momentum up. Wave turned oscillated by lazy bear. Boom! It's like saying you've oversold this thing. Time to move up. Anyway, if we can get some positive green here on the directional index. Boom, and that ADX starts trending up, and we break the 200 moving average and we find support. Bam, I might do a Sol versus BTC because, as we know, same as I'm thinking with Ethereum, it may outpace percent-wise. Bitcoin on the recovery, way to make some sweet Bitcoin sats. Sol very well may also. I'm watching this one close. We get a strong 200 moving average bounce and some good indicators. I'm in. Yeah. Doge versus USDT, 45-minute chart. It friggin' dumped hard, but it's recovering. If Bitcoin is recovering, it's recovering. So if you're a Doge person, if you love the little Shiba Inu, this might be the time to buy that dip. Let's just check out some other stuff since we are hanging out here. ADA versus USDT. I've heard during this dump. How's little Cardano doing? Oh, look at that. Cardano dumped hard, challenged the 200 moving average, wicked to the 314. Now it's dumping again. Let's keep an eye on this. ADA, you're not really in dip territory anymore, but you know what? Let's check out ADA versus BTC. Oh, man. Let's check that one out. How's that looking? Oh, damn. Well, okay. So, what about the 200 moving average? All indicators are go in general. So, right now it's dumping a bit. But if it, and that's probably because it just overpumped. As you can see, if you can see it, the red moving average right here is the 8 moving average. You never stay very far from that in any time frame. So with that said, it overpumped. When it gets to the 8 moving average, if it begins to level out and move up again, wow, ADA versus BTC on this recovery might be a badass strong alt to make some sweet BTC sats. So anyway, with all that said, hope this didn't take too long. I try to practice brevity here, but anyway, if you think about on a certain level, if this does continue to go up, it's just you have a low, lower high, just barely. I'm sorry, boom. Then you have a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, lower low, lower high. Anyway, so this is all within a reasonable spot here in the fib universe. It's market went potty. How do the indicators look on the 45-minute chart? Yeah, directional index is kind of potty. KRI is definitely on the bottom there. This is a pretty damn harsh dump. Stochastic RSI is showing maybe it's time to get in that buy area. Wave trend oscillator by Lazy Bear is definitely. You know what? Let's look at this on a 4-hour chart. The wave trend oscillator by Lazy Bear on the 4-hour chart is a pretty darn powerful indicator. I find one of my like secret profit weapons, and it's showing that we're still potty. So anyway, if you wanted to make, and also the 4-hour chart looks really good here with this fib retracement. You can kind of see it all sort of fits very, very well. If a person wanted to really play it safe, wait for that .5 fib, wait for a green candle or so off, or a green candle off the .5 fib, and watch that wave trend oscillator by Lazy Bear to turn up, and wait for the directional index to be green, and the ADX will already be high at that point, and the KRI to turn up, at least be getting green again. So, I mean, overall, this is looking pretty sweet. It's a dip. Like I say, endless dip buying to me is not a good plan for profit, to be honest with you, but today it is. With that said, make Teslas, not tweets. You will get some badass conversations going if you get one of these badass t-shirts. And hey, man, the world's going to shit. And this is me buying more Bitcoin. Because remember, for every Bitcoin Satoshi you own, a piece of shit banker cries.